Hi everyone, in this tutorial I'll show you how to transfer a portrait made with Substance Modeler to a base mesh using Faceform's Wrap. In my previous video, I went over a few techniques to help you with sculpting portraits using Modeler. I also covered exporting using Modeler's automatic topology and UV layout features. In this tutorial, we'll try a different approach. Working with portraits, you want to make sure that your mesh is clean and tidy, and that the features of the face are surrounded by edge loops. This will help with further sculpting, as well as posing and animation. This is why the modular sculpt must be transferred to a base mesh. This will let you keep the form of the sculpt, but on a mesh that has consistent, low polygon topology. To achieve this, we must export the sculpt from Modeler in a way that lets us keep all the detail and then transfer it to a pre-made base mesh that already has a clean, orderly topology and UV layout. Use the OBJ format, meters as the unit, the Y-up axis and export selection. You can use the raw mesh for this instead of decimating it to triangles or quads. You don't need UV mapping, and all additional options can be unchecked. Great! Now we can transfer the sculpt. There are a few tools to do this, but the one I find the most intuitive is Faceform's Wrap. Wrap is a node-based suite of tools dedicated to topology and texture transfer and includes presets and templates that will make our lives easier here. Let's examine the differences. This is the raw export from Modeler. The resolution is very high and the topology is very irregular. This is ideal while sculpting in Modeler. When exporting, Modeler can automatically convert the raw sculpt to a quad or triangle mesh with UVs, and this is a very convenient method in many cases. In this case, as you want to have manual control over the topology, transferring to an existing base mesh is a better option. This is one of the base mesh presets in Wrap. The shape is currently generic, but the topology is ideal, supporting the face features for further sculpting and posing. Additionally, the Wrap base mesh comes with UV mapping so that it can be textured right away. The goal is to apply the shape of the modular sculpt on the left to the tidy mesh on the right. So let's do this. In Wrap, click on the Gallery tab and select the Wrapping Sample Project. This is a preset with all nodes in place for wrapping one mesh around another. It consists of a base mesh node, a scan node, a scan texture node that we are not going to use in this example, a select polygons node, and a select point pairs node. It will all make sense in a minute. Go back to the gallery and double-click on the head with mouth socket. This will open it in the 3D viewport and will also add it as a node in the graph view. You can see that this has eye sockets as well as a mouth socket in place. The first thing to do is to substitute the base mesh node with a head with mouth socket node. Before deleting the base mesh node, connect the head with mouth socket node to select polygons, the left input of select point pairs, and the left input of wrapping. Now, let's click on the scan node and in the property editor, let's search for the modular scan to load in the 3D view. As the sculpt is not the same size as the base mesh, use the gizmo to scale and position it so that it aligns with the base mesh as much as possible. Next up, click on the Select Polygons node to select the areas that you want not to be morphed. This is typically the eye and mouth sockets. Luckily, this base mesh comes with pre-made polygroups, so you can mask the eye and mouth sockets by going to plus polygroup and then selecting them. You can see that both areas are highlighted bright red here. Now that you have masked the areas you want to remain unaffected, click on the Select Point Pairs node in the graph. This will bring you to the Visual Editor view, where you will see your base mesh alongside your sculpt. Make sure Sync Views is checked in the Properties Editor. This will lock the view so that both meshes rotate in sync. The goal here is to place corresponding points on the left and right views to match feature landmarks. This will ensure that the shape of your sculpt will transfer correctly to the base mesh. You want to pair the corners of the eyes, top and bottom eyelids, lips and nostrils, the chin, the tip of the nose, the top and bottom of the lips, and several points on and behind the ear. When you're done, go back to the 3D viewport to see both meshes at the same time. Click on the wrapping node in the graph, which is the node that will perform the actual wrapping operation. Leave the default options on and hit Compute. And that's it. You can click on the light bulbs in the nodes to turn the model's visibility on or off and compare them to the result. To export the results, hit the Tab key in the graph view, add a Save Geometry node, and connect it to the output of the wrapping node. Set the directory to save your file in. Give it a name, select OBJ as your format, and click on Compute Current Frame. This will save your wrapped geometry to disk. It can now be fine-tuned in a sculpting program or textured right away. In my next video, I will show you how to take this wrapped geometry to Substance Painter to texture it, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching.